Hello and welcome to the Bros No Gaming Show podcast. I'm the one true Goose.
And I'm just Veeds.
Hopefully this will be the first in a long series of podcasts where we talk about games, gaming, announcements, stuff like that. In today's episode we're going to be talking about the past 12 months as far as games are concerned, what we've liked, what we haven't liked. To be honest, I didn't really know how to introduce this. Like, you think, how can you do a good intro? I was thinking about doing that thing, what YouTubers do where they go, "What is going on, guys? My name is whatever, whatever." I just think, why did I do that? why aren't they talking their own voice? But obviously I wasn't going to do that.
You kind of have just done it.
yeah, true. But anyway, let's just roll with it. So we're now at the end of 2015, pretty much. How has it been, gaming-wise?
It's been good. I've not played as many games as you have this year, but it's been a decent game. There's been a couple of letdowns for games that I've been really looking forward to for a long time.
Yeah.
And then there's been games that have sort of just crept out of the woodwork and not.
Yeah, that's
they've
true.
Had absolutely zero hype, and they've been some of the biggest games. So.
Obviously not Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
Oh, no.
but no, I think it's been good overall. I mean, there's a few things a bit like I think there's a mentality with gamers nowadays where they want everything to be brilliant, and there's so much expectation. Just think of, for example, it's not gaming, but Star Wars, for example. Yeah. I've not seen it yet. You've not seen it yet, have you?
No.
But there's so much hype built for it. I'm wondering, is it actually going to be good?
I've not read anything about it since it released either.
Not the fact that is it going to be good. It's probably going to be good, but is it going to be as good as people expect? And it's the same thing with all industries, like really. And it's kind of creeping over into games now. People expect everything to be brilliant, and it isn't always. That's not always the case, you know.
Yeah.
That said, there has been some good games. There's been some really good games. There's been some not so good, but it's kind of been a mixed year. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I spent the first half of the year playing games that didn't even release this year.
Yeah.
So that says quite a lot.
Well, that's the thing. It's a bit like, if you've got a great DVD collection and you're a massive film fan, you can go back and look at those films anytime, can't you? That's the beauty of owning your games, I suppose, instead of just renting or, like the PlayStation Now thing.
Yeah.
You can do the streaming and everything, can't you? But the beauty of actually owning your own game is you've got it forever, so you can play it forever. You know? So all this said, what do you think's been good?
What top tier games?
Yeah, AAA games or any games really. But what's really stuck out for you?
Fallout's probably one of the biggest standouts for me.
Mm.
Yeah, because I've been looking forward to it for so long. Even though it only got announced at E3, everyone that's a sort of hardcore Fallout fan knew that it was in the air.
Yeah.
There's been leaks about it being set in Boston for like the last 2 years, and it finally got announced. I remember I was watching the live stream with one of my friends. I just couldn't believe, I suppose, what I was seeing. Like, it far exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
And although, sorry to cut you off, but
sorry.
Although there's a lot of glitchiness, I've currently put about 70 hours into it.
That's a lot of hours.
And I didn't play it for like the first couple of weeks. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good game. It's Fallout 4. I've not played it that much. I've not had that much time to play it. I've been focusing on other stuff, really. I think it's good. It's good, but I think at the same time, it has got those glitches and stuff, and I mean, they don't bother me that much. I'm not sort of gamer where I let that ruin a game for me. You know that. For example, I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, so I'm used to it. Do you know what I mean? To an extent. But yeah, it's a good game. It is one of those standout games, and I remember I was thinking, oh yeah, new Fallout, that'll be really good. I've enjoyed playing Skyrim. So, I enjoyed playing, kind of enjoyed playing the Elder Scrolls Online. It wasn't so bad, it was okay. Not as good as Skyrim, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a good game. Really good game.
What about you? What's your biggest standout? To be honest, that's probably not... It's hard to choose a single game, but...
It is.
That's probably what I'd have chosen.
Yeah, I get you. I think... I always kind of think, even with games like Murdered Soul Suspect, right? Piece of trash. Stinks of garbage, right? Crap game. But even that has some merit to it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's always something that's okay with a game, even if it's just the design, all the creativity that's gone into it. Not necessarily those things associated with Murdered Soul Suspect. But like generally, most games have something decent going for them. It's not fair to just shit on a game and say it's shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. I mean, there's been loads of games I've enjoyed this year. I really enjoyed Batman. I know a lot of people were disappointed with it, and there was a lot of problems, obviously, with PC and stuff like that. I don't play on PC, so that obviously didn't affect me. But I understand I know that frustration if you were a PC player, because that game was really, really anticipated. Maybe more than, well, maybe not more, but maybe on a level with Fallout 4. Do you know what I mean? I think it delivered in a lot of ways. I think it did have its pitfalls though. The Batmobile thing, it was cool. Just riding it through Gotham and knocking through walls and stuff, and really feel like that. That Batmobile. It added to that world. But then also there was too much reliance on it. When you think about it, there was the whole Riddler thing. That was all Batmobile. It became like a new gadget, didn't it? And it became like a key thing. So all the boss battles almost were in the Batmobile. All the boss fights, and I'm just thinking, it's cool having it there, but don't rely on it. That said, I think the character work and the story, a lot of people weren't happy with the story in Batman Arkham Knight. I really liked it. But the way they used certain characters, I won't say too much. I know you've not finished it, have you?
I've personally not played it. I've seen you play some of it. Well, as you know, I stopped playing on Arkham City. I've not touched the previous two, so...
It's a shame that you haven't, because they're good games, man. I mean, as far as the Arkham Knight himself as a character is concerned, I told a friend of mine ages ago, I was like, I reckon the Arkham Knight is this person. And this was about maybe 6 months before it was released. And then all the time, when suddenly something just clicks and you think, oh yeah, that's probably what that is.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of thinking, I might be wrong, but, I'll just see how it goes. And then I was playing the game, and as the game continued, I was thinking, I think I was right. I think I'm right. And then when we got into like the last maybe third of the game, I was thinking, yeah, I was definitely right. And like I just ruined it for myself in that respect. But it was still a good reveal and stuff. The way they worked it was good. So I enjoyed Batman. I don't know if I'd say it was my favourite game of the year. I really enjoyed The Witcher. The Witcher's brilliant. But again, the only drawback with a game like The Witcher is you need some serious hours to invest into that game. It's not something you could pick up for 20 minutes here and there. You need to invest some serious time in it to get gain the full experience. But that world, and the characters and the way you just come across little side quests and stuff, which isn't really a new thing for games. I suppose they were doing that in Skyrim and stuff like that. Not as well, granted. But it's the way it all just works together in that world, and the beauty of it as well. The look of the game is brilliant. So I think that would definitely be up there, as well as maybe Batman for me. What about you?
As well as Fallout?
Yeah, if you got any more as well as Fallout. I mean, we're not talking about a definitive game of the year sort of thing. Just things that we our favourite sort of like experiences with games.
Well, a game that I've spent more time playing than I have Fallout, if not more than any other game sort of in the last 6 months, is probably Rocket League.
Yeah.
It's such a simple game. I didn't even know about it. I'd never heard of it. It was free on PlayStation Store in like June or sometime in the start of the summer sometime. And I thought, I'll download it, why not? It's just one of them games that you instantly get hooked on. Yeah. Because it's just fun. It's really fun. It's just a really fun game. The
way I kind of came about Rocket League, I'd heard a couple of things about it, but you were scrolling through Twitter or something, and you see something about it, but you don't really take it in. It's just kind of like passing, And then I saw some people playing it on YouTube, and I thought, this looks really fun. And then I realised it was this game, Rocket League, that I'd kind of seen a little bit of, seen it mentioned here and there. And then, like you, I saw it was free on PlayStation Store. So I was like, oh, well, it's free to play, I might as well try it out. I downloaded it, and same as you, what I found was, it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. It's completely ridiculous. It's really stupid, but it's fun. And I think that's something that a lot of AAA titles nowadays more and more are starting to lack.
Yeah.
Is that fun element?
A lot of them almost feel like a chore when it comes to playing.
Yeah, they do. Definitely. I can think of some right now off the top of my head that felt like that. I'm going to talk about AAA releases as well. But yeah, I mean, it is just fun. I mean, for me, it's not a game that I play 24/7. You know this. Like, it's a game that I kind of go to when, if I've played maybe a few hours of, I don't know, The Witcher, for example, and then I think, oh well, I need a bit of a break from that. I've done a bit of a slog. I'll just go to Rocket League and I'll play for maybe half an hour, every now and then, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, at most. But when I do play it, I really enjoy it. There's not really downside to it, really. It seems just a nice little self-contained fun game,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's true, less is more. Think of everything that's crammed into a game these days, and on like everything. Like again, like I said, I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan, and I stand by believing that Assassin's Creed games are good. But there's so much in the world, and you get these glitches, and I wonder sometimes it's because they're trying to cram so much in there. Do you know what I mean? It's unfinished, and like it's just a bit too much. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think the key thing that you've just said there is that it's unfinished.
Yeah.
Too many games get released unfinished.
Yeah, that's a massive thing this year.
It's almost like the publishers are scared to delay a game, but at the end of the day, as a consumer, we don't want to be spending £50 on a game that's broken.
Yeah, that's true. I think, like what we're saying about games being released that are broken, they're unfinished. I think the reason for this, the reason that these games get released in that state, is because they've been working on for however long, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I imagine they'll get a period of time and say, right, we want it to be done by this date. Sometimes it isn't, so it gets pushed back, and we see that, But also, we've got to remember, these are big companies. It's big business, and the point of business is making money. So they can't just delay every title for an extra year, an extra 2 years, because all the time they're spending money, but they're not making it back. Do you know what I mean? So the reason that they are releasing them unfinished is because no people are going to buy them, and ultimately, oh yeah, we can just release a patch for that to fix it. It's a bit crap, really, because as a consumer, you want your product to be good. Do you know what I mean? You want the end result to be smooth and finished, but that's not always the case. You got to remember these companies, they're making money. Do you know what I mean? That's what they're not making games because they think, oh yeah, people will really love the new Call of Duty. Do you know what I mean? They're making games because they think we're going to make a shit ton of money off this new Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the reason why. So yeah, I mean, just going back to what we were saying about best of the year, there's so many titles we could go through, so many, tons and tons of them. But let's move on to just something a little bit different. What's the worst of the year?
The worst release this year, in my opinion, I don't know if it's necessarily the worst release of the year, but for the amount of hype that there was surrounding the game pre-release, in my opinion, I'd have to go with the Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain.
For the worst of the year?
In my opinion, I mean, I don't think it's the worst game that has been released this year.
Yeah.
But the way that I'm thinking about it is the amount of hype that there was surrounding it, and it's an empty game.
Well,
it's like a shell of a game.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've got things to say about Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the worst release of the year. I think it's a good game, but equally, we'll get to that in a little bit. I mean, it's one of the games that I've had a serious heartbreak with this year is The Order, 1886.
I've not even touched it.
I know you haven't. I remember when that game was announced, and I saw it, and I saw the graphics and everything. I mean, initially, you get the first thing you take in is the look of the game.
That's first impressions.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and I thought, wow, that looks great, And then I heard it was about this secret order that's been running for years, and they're like these protectors of the realm sort of thing, Knights of the Round Table, all that stuff. But they're fighting like werewolves in this steampunk sort of London, and I thought, that sounds really, really good. I was really excited for it, and then I think it got to maybe about a month before release, and suddenly a lot of people, there's little whispers, The Order, it's not that good, stuff like that. People are saying, it's just not a very good game. And I kind of stuck to my guns, trusted my heart over my head a little bit, and I thought, no, it'll be good, it'll be fine. I thought maybe it's the whole Xbox versus PlayStation thing, which I couldn't care less about.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less about all that shit. But I really did think that it was that, you know, a little bit of kind of like throwing a little spanner in the works sort of thing. And then it got to maybe about a week before the release, and suddenly there was this full playthrough of the game cropping up online, and it was like 5 hours long, and there was nothing to do in the game. You just walked around and occasionally shot at some people and occasionally fought some werewolves. And I remember thinking, oh man, that just doesn't look good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember thinking, shit, I had so much love for this game. I mean, how long before it got released was it announced? I can't remember, but it seems like a long time to me.
It was a long, long time, yeah.
So all that time, I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be a really good game. Literally right up to the week before release, and it was pushed back as well, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
it was quite long. Anyway, I thought I'm not gonna buy that full price. I'm gonna trust what people are saying, and then I'm gonna leave it. I'll leave it maybe 6 months. Wait till it comes down in price, and then I can get it then on the cheap, you know. So that's what I did. I waited a little while. I got it for maybe, I think it was about 20 quid, something like that. I thought surely it must be worth 20 quid, you know. And then I played it, and I think I got up to maybe the 3rd chapter, something like that. And all I'd done was shoot at some guys, fight a werewolf, and walk around London. That was all I'd done. And don't get me wrong, it looks amazing. It's you know, it looks brilliant. The graphics are undeniably brilliant. But if I wanted to just go outside and walk around and do nothing, I'd go outside and walk around in real life. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't pay 20 quid for it. And I just thought, oh my god, like it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's a really bad game. It's the sort of game that when you play it, you get a really dull headache. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like I used to work in a supermarket a little while ago, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I hated it. Absolutely hated it, right? And every day I'd go into work and I'd sit there and I'd be so bored and there's no stimulant there to encourage you to work. So you get this kind of like really dull ache in your head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got the same thing with the Order. Like I did. It was just boring. There's nothing about that game apart from the look and the graphics. There's nothing else to its credit. To be fair, I mean, I can't remember there being a storyline to it. I can't remember a narrative. I'm sure there was one, but I can't remember what the hell it was. And that might pick up, but bearing in mind, by this point in the game, I'd already played about 3 hours of it.
So you were at least about halfway into it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking nothing's happening. There's some sort of werewolves, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? And it's just an example of, to me, an idea, a concept that could have been something really good. Like we could have been looking at something on the same sort of level as like BioShock. Do you know what I mean? And then it just wasn't. It just wasn't to be, and it broke my heart. Like as far as my expectations. Do you know what I mean? But then it just, you know, it's just one of those things, I suppose. I mean, another game as well that was just the worst. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not worse than the Order. Maybe I don't know. Evolve.
Yeah. Again, it's a game that when I saw trailers for it, I thought it looked pretty cool.
Mm.
It kind of reminded me of the Gears of War. In visuals,
like the design of it.
Yeah, just the look of it and sort of like the chunky characters and unrealistic look of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But at the same time, it looked pretty decent, and it did look like it was going to be a good game. There was a lot of hype surrounding it.
What I really liked,
it fell short. I'll let you say what you were going to say.
What I really liked was the concept of the multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's like 3 or 4 versus 1.
Yeah, 4v1.
Yeah, like these people are armed up to the teeth with weapons and all sorts versus this monster, you know.
Yeah, that's constantly evolving.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that sounds like a really cool. I imagined like hour-long matches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I imagined it to go on for ages and be these battles. Do you know what I mean? These really long, drawn out, but really fulfilling battles between these people and this monster. And then I played it. I went and bought it. I didn't get it for what might be considered the full release price. You know, I got it a little bit cheaper, but still a fair amount of money. You know, and I went. I brought it home. I bobbed it into my console. I was playing, and I thought all I wanted to do was get into that multiplayer. You know, I am one for the campaigns and stuff like that and the narrative of a game. But equally with this one, I thought I just want to jump straight into there and experience that, you know, that multiplayer experience. So that's what I did. And suddenly I was learning how to control my monster and stuff, and it was like there's one move for square, one move for triangle, one move for circle, one move for X. I was like, what? Is that it? You know? Like, there was like, I was just like, you got to be kidding me! It's this huge monster, and that's all it can do. I might have, you know, there might be more to it that I've forgotten, but I played it once, and then I never played it again because I played like a couple of games in this one session of gaming that I did with it, and I was just so unimpressed with it. I mean, but then this is another trap of kind of like the gaming industry at the moment, isn't it? They sell you this empty shell.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you pay 40, 50 quid for it, whatever. And then, oh, but look, there's all more stuff. Oh, look at all this DLC that's coming out. Look how sparkly and new it is. Do you know what I mean? And look at all the things you can achieve if you get this new DLC. And suddenly you've got games like Evolve that's charging. To be honest, I've not even looked up the DLC for Evolve. I wasn't bothered. But I know with games like Destiny, like it's a similar sort of thing. You get a game that hasn't got much content in it, and then they release, like over the course of a year or two or whatever, content that should have been in the game originally, and it's just a way of making money for these companies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a scam in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't mind Destiny. I didn't mind Destiny as a game. I thought it was pretty cool. Like I said, there wasn't much in there, but the online experience seemed pretty cool, and I enjoyed traveling to the different planets. I'm a bit of a space geek, so I didn't mind that.
I think all they needed to do for Destiny was include more cutscenes, more cinematics.
They needed a writer,
and
that's what they needed.
As far as I'm aware, the writer left.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, like halfway through development, the writer left or something along them lines, and it just sort of went downhill. But they still needed to push it.
Yeah,
it's Activision that was publishing it, and they were still pushing for it to be released, etc. But the core game is really good. Like the mechanics.
Yeah.
And the idea the idea behind the Traveller being this sort of last hope saviour of the Earth, and then the Guardians come together to defend it and defend the Earth against all these different races of aliens and stuff.
Definitely.
It could have been such a huge
I mean,
game.
Don't get me wrong, it's not without its merits.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's all shit. Like we said before, every game has got some merits to it, you know. But I just think it's this idea that developers have got in their head that they can sell as a £40 property. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
£40, £50 property. We buy it. We've invested in that game already, and then they expect us to invest in another DLC that costs 30 quid, and then another one that costs 30 quid or whatever, and then microtransactions, and then in case with Destiny, this booster pack things that you can get now. And I just think you're spending about 200 quid on one game if you want all that content. If you want everything that you can possibly have from Destiny, if you're a super fan and you enjoy it, you spend all your time playing it, and you want everything it has to offer, you're looking at least pushing 200 quid.
Yeah.
For one game, and that's outrageous in my opinion. Like it is. I just think it's like a despicable cash grab. You know.
Well, especially if you want all the exclusive content, or you want the legendary, or the
like special editions and stuff.
Yeah, special editions. I think all that stuff. If you're a real if you're a collector of them things, then fair enough. You expect to pay more, but some of the pricings for the releases of games such as Destiny is sort of beyond belief.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about, what was your biggest surprise of the year? The thing that really it stuck in your mind from the year, something that like you just either didn't see coming or you saw coming, you thought it might be all right, and then it really surprised you, was really good.
Again, it's sort of I've got two answers. One of them's a game, and then one's something that just took me by surprise.
All right.
But it's games that I've touched on already. I'd probably say Rocket League's probably my biggest surprise.
Yeah.
For what it has to offer, and the fact that
for that enjoyment level.
Yeah, just it's really enjoyable. You can play it competitively, really competitively if you're into that type of thing. There's ranked playlists. You can mod all your cars. You can just hang out with friends basically and have a good time. And to say that I'd probably everybody that I know that plays it downloaded it for free.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody that I know that has played that game downloaded it for free. There's been 3 or 4 small DLC packs for like £3 each, which is fair enough to say we got the game for free.
Yeah, yeah. When I was going on about DLC a second ago, I didn't mean across the board. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean like that. If there are things you can pick up that are just nice little additions to a game, for just a few quid. I think anything for DLC, anything kind of below 20 quid, I'd say is a reasonable price.
Yeah.
I think what I think, just going back to Rocket League, it's the sort of game that has just got enough content.
Yeah.
For what it is, it's just got enough content. There isn't too much to overwhelm you, and there isn't too little for it to be boring. Do you know what I mean? Like I've said before, the game itself is fun. There's no denying that. Like you can put the paint jobs and the different colours and the different accessories onto your car and stuff like that, and that's fun. That's good.
Yeah, I mean they've also not only have they brought out the paid DLC, which only includes more cars and things like that, more things to customise your vehicle, which is a good thing because in a lot of games when you customise things you don't even get to see it.
Yeah.
Whereas you can see everything in that. But then they've also brought out a lot of free DLC arenas and things like that, like the ice hockey one, different game modes, different variations. I think all around, I'd probably have to say that's the biggest surprise as far as a full game goes.
Yeah.
Because I'd never even heard about it until it was on PlayStation Store. But then, on the other hand, I think probably the most exciting thing that surprised me is not a game itself, but the fact that going back to E3 and going back to Fallout is that when I'd been looking forward to that game for so long, and when they had the big reveal at E3, Bethesda had never been to E3 before.
Yeah.
So I think all Fallout fans knew it was coming. They also announced Doom and a couple of other games, big games. But the fact that at the end of the conference, at the end of the show, they announced that it was to be released in November.
Yeah.
And I was excited beyond belief because I'd been looking forward to that game for so long, to be released in 5 months. And no big studios do that.
Yeah, that's true. What you're saying about when Bethesda were at E3, I would have loved it if they'd made a little teaser for some completely unrelated game. Who knows what? Anything, right? It can be about anything. And then maybe release a little trailer for it, And then it gets announced that Bethesda are going to be at E3. So everyone's thinking, they're maybe going to push this new game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get to E3 and they're on stage doing the whole thing, talking about this game. Just say it's called I don't know. It's called anything. It could be called anything. Can't think now. They're just talking about it. The guy from Bethesda's there doing he's real excited, trying to get all the crowd, excited for it and stuff. Suddenly, like that, all the lights go down, screen just goes blank, and he just comes up playing "Please Stand By," and suddenly it's as if it's just been announced on the whim. Do you know what I mean? No expectation for it. I would have loved that. I would have shit my pants if that had happened. Seriously, and like, don't get me wrong, I was excited for it because I knew it was coming. They did the whole countdown online, didn't they? I was it like for 40 days or something, or for 40 hours or something.
Yeah,
something
they
like
originally there was like a troll website went up.
Yeah.
That was announced to be fake, and then I can't remember exactly how it happened, but they did release an initial trailer.
Yeah.
Before E3, and then they announced that they were going to be going to E3.
Mm.
So everybody knew that there was going to be more Fallout content showed. I don't think people expected to see as much as they did. There was the whole... They went into so much detail with what was the new stuff, really, really pushing it, which is... They didn't need to do, because it would have sold millions anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And little things like Bethesda won E3.
Yeah.
They literally won E3. But like little things like throughout that conference, when they announced that Fallout Shelter, they started talking about Fallout Shelter for Android, for iOS originally, and then later to be released on Android. And then they were like, and you'll be able to download it as soon as we've finished tonight. It's like in 2 nights they announced 2 games.
Yeah, it was
in one night they announced 2 games, essentially. That were one released instantly, and then another to be released in 5 months' time before the year's out.
Mm.
And
it was
sort of. I know you're saying you wish they'd have done that with the game, but it was almost like the perfect show.
It was really impressive. It was really, really impressive. They delivered on all fronts, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was a really good. That is, I probably would say, aside from kind of like the surprise of I'm playing whatever game and it turns out it's really good. In the world of the farther reach of like the gaming industry, that was probably the biggest actual surprise of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's well worth mentioning. Just going on to what my great surprise of the year would be. This is a game that a lot of people have forgotten about. But I certainly haven't. It's really left an impact on me. Which sounds silly when I'm going to say what it is, but it's Dying Light. Right? Honestly, that game is really good. If you're a fan of parkour, zombies, weapon modding, exploration, all those exploration. Is that what I said? Yeah. I thought I'd said something else. If you're a fan of any of those things, then it is just a really good game. And above all that, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
When you play it, when you find yourself, suddenly your watch starts beeping, beep, 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 like that, and it's 9 o'clock at night, and it's getting dark. Suddenly you're like, shit, where am I? I need to get back to a safe zone.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're like hide and seek. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get back to that safe zone. It's really hard, but it's such a good game. I mean, the multiplayer equally is really good. If you can play it with a few friends, and you're like trying to hunt down these nests and these like I can't remember what they're called. These really the zombies that can jump around. They've got like the lizard tongue thing. I can't remember what they're called now. And then one player is playing as one of them. And the odds are stacked against you so much, but you need to be really if you're in a group, it works really well. If you're playing it 1-on-1 with the zombie, you're not going to get very far.
So it's essentially Evolve in Dying Light.
Yes, it is. I mean, you can play it 1-on-1.
Yeah,
and it's still fun. It's just obviously the odds are against you. But what really stands out with me about Dying Light. To a couple of things. It took exactly what Dead Island was doing and made it 100 times better.
Yeah.
It took exactly what Mirror's Edge does and made it 100 times better. And then it incorporated all of that into this really beautiful, dynamic world.
Yeah.
And I just think as a game overall, I remember it being announced, and I remember when it came out, and I was thinking, yeah, it'd be fun. I don't mind a zombie game. I played all of Dead Island. I quite enjoyed them. This will probably be pretty good. And I expected the same caliber of thing. You play maybe an hour of Dead Island and you think, yeah, it's good. It's pretty cool. I've had a good time, but I'll play something else now. I was playing hour after hour of Dying Light. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
Because it's just how the world, you know, the cycle of the world, the day and night cycle, and just how there's so much to discover as well on that game, and there's so much to explore. It's just a brilliant game, and I really do feel like it's been a little bit forgotten about. It came out, I think it was in the first half of the year, wasn't it?
It was. I think it was in
definitely
January.
Yeah,
I think it was actually in January.
It was
or
quite a long
February.
time ago it came out.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you came up with it earlier, you realised that, like, you were saying to me, "Oh, you're playing Dying Light again," you know, like I've reinstalled it, and it's a game that I've gone back to again, and I thought, yeah, I want to play that again because it's such a simple thing, that day and night cycle, but when it does change that to night time, and suddenly the zombies are all faster, and what is the best for me, personally, the best stroke of genius for that game, when you're running away, you can look back at the horde of the zombies chasing you, and sometimes you look back and there's literally one right on your heels, and you really shit yourself. You know, you really think, oh shit, I need to get going. I'm about to die. You know. So for me personally, that would be my kind of biggest surprise of the year. It's like I said, it's a game that's largely been kind of forgotten about because I guess it's almost been a year since it was released. But I mean, I don't know if anything's been announced already, as we're recording this, about Game of the Year or any sort of awards or anything like that, you know, for the year. But I really hope that gets something because it deserves it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a really good game. So yeah, that's probably all I'd say. There are more surprises that have come and gone.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, but for me that was a standout one. Really, really, really was. So just moving on again slightly. What's the most overrated game of the year? The most overrated game of the year. I've got a feeling that me and you are gonna.
I've already talked.
Yeah.
I've already said it in.
I know you
I
have.
think.
I know what you're gonna say. I'm gonna say the same thing. we both share this view. Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt.
I just want to get something out of the way. Let me just say this. I can't say that.
We're both Metal Gear enthusiasts.
Yeah, we are. I love the Metal Gear series. I absolutely love it. You do.
Yeah.
Our other brother does.
Yeah.
Like
although he doesn't share the same view as us.
Yeah, he doesn't share the same view on this particular game, but what I've always loved about Metal Gear is the ridiculousness of that world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Fat Man. Remember Fat Man? Big bald fat guy on bloody rollerblades with bombs attached to him or whatever, throwing bombs around, throwing grenades or C4 around or whatever it was, drinking a fucking martini as he's doing it.
On top of an oil rig.
On top of an oil rig. It's just so stupid. But at the same time, I mean, don't get me wrong, Fat Man is one of the worst bosses in the series.
In any video game.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's got like a brilliance to it as well. Like, there's only Hideo Kojima could come up with that. Do you know what I mean? And make it work.
He'll have put him in purely for comedy, just because it's come from his crazy mind.
But I mean, if you think of it like just different bosses from across the games, right? People like Psycho Mantis, right?
Yeah.
Vamp, Fat Man, The Pain, all them ones. What are they called?
The End.
The End. Brilliant boss fight. Then you've got like the what are they called from Metal Gear Solid 4? The sisters or something.
There was 4 sisters.
Yeah.
But I forgot what the names were.
I don't think they were actually sisters.
My mind's gone blank.
Yeah, but they were all based on previous bosses, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like there was the wolf one, and there was like the.
You even fought the wolf one where you fought Sniper Wolf.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like the bosses and everything like that, really, really ridiculous, but brilliant.
Yeah.
Really, really brilliant. It's almost become like a genre to itself, Metal Gear. You know, and despite the fact that all the previous games were linear, despite the fact that you played as some bloody blonde prick as for one of them, you know, despite all of that, they're brilliant games. Really, really brilliant, and it's a brilliant franchise. But then when you've got Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, first of all, it kicks off and you're in the hospital, you know, it leads on obviously from Ground Zeroes, so for anybody who's played Ground Zeroes. You've been in this accident, you've been double crossed, and you're waking up from a coma for however many years, 9 years is it, something like that?
9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
You're missing an arm, and you're all disorientated. You've lost all your weight. You're real skinny. Suddenly, these soldiers storm the hospital, killing everybody. Some guy in the bed next to you helps you escape, and you literally while your body's weak, you're dragging yourself along the floor and that stuff, and you're trying to hide from all these soldiers with the guns, and you gradually get your strength back as this is all happening, and then suddenly there's some guy who's set on fire, fires fucking bullets out of his knuckles, and then you've got what is obviously a young psycho mantis floating around. And you kind of fight the fire guy. I can't remember his name. And you escape the hospital. As you're escaping, a giant whale comes out of nowhere, made of fire. And then this is like all the little kind of like intro bit of the game,
Yeah.
And I remember playing that, and I thought, this is brilliant. This is Metal Gear Solid. It's so ridiculous but
It
brilliant.
felt like they'd just taken it up another notch.
Yeah, exactly. But then you actually start playing the game, and you're in this wilderness where there's nothing to do apart from go past the same checkpoints 20 times
And collect diamonds.
Collect stuff, Fulton stuff, send it back to Mother Base. I thought the idea of the Mother Base, being able to customise it, was a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
Being able to expand it, which, true, was good. But then when it comes to customisation, you could only pick like one. It might have changed now, to be fair. I've not checked, I've not updated it or played it for a little while. But I thought you'd be able to really, really customise your base. You can put a logo on it and change the colour, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so that was a bit of a letdown. But we're getting back to that kind of like wilderness, that open world, and that's the key thing to my argument here, this open world. You kind of go wherever you like, do whatever you want, but then there's nothing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's empty. It is really empty. Where I've not finished it. I'm maybe at the most about 30% into the game. But where I am so far in the game, I'm thinking nothing much has happened. There's been a few little bits, don't get me wrong, the boss battles are really good. It's got some really good set pieces. Like Ocelot, Miller, Big Boss, brilliant like trio of people, To see them all together. And when you know where the storyline of Metal Gear, Big Boss ends up as this bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's heading towards that, but it's just so slow. It's so slow, and I think there was a point when I was playing it. I was laid one side of a dirt road, right? And I was seeing how long it would take me I've told you this before. I was seeing how long it would take me to roll from one side of the road to the other. I was thinking, how fast can I roll across the road? I got maybe 3/4 of the way there, and I just stopped and looked up away from my TV, and I just thought, "The fuck am I doing?" I was like, "I'm bored. I'm really bored."
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot to do in that game, but at the same time, it's like stuff of no importance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, build your mother base and build your army and stuff like that, and Fulton back supplies and fortify your base and stuff like that. That's fair enough. But I mean, to me, it feels like they've tried to stuff another coin into an already full piggy bank.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it's necessary, and don't get me wrong. The day that came out, I was giddy as a bloody goose. Do you know what I mean? Seriously, I was practically skipping all the way to the shop to get my copy, and I was so excited for it. And when I started playing it, like I said, it was good, and for a good couple of hours and a good while playing the main missions and the story and exploring Afghanistan and Africa and stuff like that, I was really enjoying it. But then, just gradually, that enjoyment just wore off, and I just thought, there's not actually a lot to do. Perhaps it's a case of if it was just solely main missions.
Yeah.
If you just played the story, it might be a more enjoyable experience. But I feel like if I do that, I feel like I was missing out. But then I'm thinking, am I? Because I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. When I have to go and find a goat and Fulton it back to bloody Mother Base as a side mission. Do you know what I mean? I mean, what's that about? But I mean, I don't know. What are your feelings on it?
I just feel like, as far as the whole franchise is concerned, I feel like it was complete after Guns of the Patriots.
Yeah.
I feel like it was. I feel like everybody was happy
Yeah.
after the fourth one, and I feel like even when they announced the Phantom Pain, people pieced together the
Yeah,
the
the thing
letters.
from the
Yeah,
the
where it's
banner.
like where it's cut out,
Yeah.
and they figured out it's Metal Gear.
Yeah.
So straight away we knew there was another Metal Gear game. I don't know how they were going to go about surprising us with it, but I just feel like, I know that's kind of off subject, but I kind of feel like I'd rather watch it as a movie or as a series, or watch just the cutscenes
Well,
and the set pieces. If I'm being honest, I just can't be bothered playing it.
Yeah.
Playing the game, like I said at the beginning, when we were talking earlier on, it just feels like a chore. I just don't feel like I don't enjoy actually
Yeah,
physically
I know what you
playing the
mean.
game.
I think-
I'm not very far into it at all.
Yeah, I
and
know
there's a
you're not.
reason for that.
Yeah.
I'm literally, without spoiling anything, but there's a mission near the beginning where you've got to locate the honeybee. It's not a spoiler. If people haven't played it, it's not
Yeah.
spoiling
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. We get it.
But for people that have played the game, that's as far as I am.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I just don't enjoy playing it. It's just that simple fact. I just find it boring.
Obviously, I'm again. I've not completed it, like I've said, but I'm a lot further than you are. And there are things and events that happen within the game that are enjoyable, and they seem to almost grasp at that old Metal Gear style. But another thing I just don't like about it, it just seems so. I mean, there's always been a matter of urgency with the other games, and they've been kind of like within themselves quite serious, but then to an audience, like I've said before as well, equally ridiculous and silly. But to me, this one is just so serious, it's lost that sort of like that silly kind of appeal. Like, I mean, like saying all the bosses and some of the things, like, remember, like, for example, in the first Metal Gear, that bloody soldier kept shitting himself. Like, stuff like that, and there's little things like that were kind of quirky and but kind of belonged within this world, and this doesn't seem to be any of that in this one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's the worst game ever, but I do think it's overrated. The thing is, it's not. I don't say that like, oh yeah, it's shit, rubbish that, yeah, whatever, can't be bothered with it. I'm not saying it like that because I wanted it so much to be the best game I'd ever played.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like we both said, we're massive fans of Metal Gear Solid. I always have been. Ever since back in '99, whenever the first one, whenever Metal Gear Solid came out.
Yeah. I was only like 7 or 8 when the first one came
Yeah,
out.
I know.
I played it and enjoyed it.
I know, this is the thing. So in a way, it's been with us like a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been with us. We've been playing these games the majority of our lives. But this one, it does just seem overrated to me. Like, it really does. Anyway, moving on swiftly again. What I've done, I've made 2 lists. The games that are coming out next year.
Yeah.
Right. I won't tell you the difference between the lists. It's not like a trivia thing. There's no like hidden agenda here. It's pretty easy to pick out. So, but just see what you think about these, right? And these are in no particular order, and obviously there's going to be other releases on top of these. But these are just some that I've picked because it seemed to stand out to me when I was looking at these. We've got Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, Mirror's Edge, that new one. I can't remember what it's called. The
Catalyst, I think.
Yeah, Catalyst, something like that. We've got Uncharted 4, Dark Souls 3, Doom, Dishonored 2, Final Fantasy 15, Gears of War. I don't know which one it is, but the new one.
I'm not an Xbox player, so I don't
yeah, the new Gears of War. We've got Homefront Revolution, Mass Effect Andromeda, and Ratchet and Clank. Right, that's the first list.
Yeah.
Second list, significantly smaller. We've got Dreams, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last Guardian, and The Division. What's the difference between those 2 lists, apart from obviously one's got more in it than the other? Give up?
Yeah.
The first list I'm just going to run for it again a bit quicker. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, New Mirror's Edge, Uncharted 4, Dark Souls 3, Doom, Dishonored 2, Final Fantasy 15, Gears of War, whatever one, Homefront Revolution, Mass Effect Andromeda, Ratchet and Clank. They're all sequels or remakes.
Yeah.
I was looking through a list. It was the top 35 most anticipated games of next year. Granted, some of them I'd never heard of, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And some of them were like independent games, you know.
Yeah.
But from the list, I'm talking about maybe AAA titles here. Apart from maybe Dreams, I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about that yet. I don't know if that's going to be a AAA title or if it's going to be more of an indie game. But let's just count it for the sake of whatever. Looking at 4 games in that entire list for next year that are original
Brand new.
brand new properties.
Horizon Zero Dawn looks very intriguing.
It does. I don't know if I'm sold on it, to be honest.
I don't know if I am, but it's. I suppose that's all I can say. It looks intriguing. I think that was announced in the PlayStation show at E3. Again, I was watching the live stream with some friends, and people that I was watching it with, or some of the people that I was watching it with, I was really surprised because they thought it looked really good. And I would have never expected them to think like that about a game like that. I'm talking about people that literally all the plays first-person shooters or fighting games.
Yeah.
And usually purely multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And there was some of them that thought it looked really, really intriguing, which it does. But at the same time, I think, does it just look a little bit ridiculous?
Well, I guess all video games are ridiculous, really, when you think about it. I mean, take Assassin's Creed. You're jumping in the machine and going back in time to play as your ancestor from the bloody Crusades. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking down bad guys who were after ancient secret hidden treasure. Do you know what I mean? So when you think about all video games, really, they're a bit ridiculous. We've just been talking about Metal Gear Solid for God knows how long. I mean, talk about ridiculous. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think with Horizon, I'm not quite sold on the animatronic dinosaurs or what.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Like dinosaur, like robot.
I think
dinosaurs.
the world looks interesting and the characters look interesting, but I think like these mechanisms, whatever they are, like robots or machine or part animal, part machine, I don't know, whatever the hell they are. I don't know if I'm too sold on them. I mean, I suppose that's something if you're playing, you'd probably see the different types. Do you know what I mean? Different species and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And like that would probably be quite interesting. But I think on the whole it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited for it.
Well, I was watching one of the developers talk about it and talk about like the boss fights, which are essentially against bigger or faster or harder dinosaurs. And he was saying that the AI that's built into the dinosaurs, it's like almost like, well, intelligent in a way. Like you come across some games, some boss fights in games where it's mapped out. Before you've even gone into that fight, it's mapped out.
Well, I'd say 95% of them are.
Whereas the video that I was watching, it was showing gameplay as he was talking over it, and he was saying that like it was against the T-Rex basically. He was saying that there's different parts. Obviously, there's the metal outer body. There's all the different wiring and fluids and stuff on the inner body.
Yeah.
There's weak points. There's weapons that it has. It's not just like an actual animal. It's a robot. It's got different weapons.
Yeah.
And he was saying that when you're in these fights with them, the intelligence of the animal is almost like real life intelligence in a sense that if you try and do something,
it'll counteract.
It'll counter it, and it's. I don't know how to describe it, but it sounded quite impressive the way that it was. I suppose it was pitching it.
I think it sounds a little bit kind of like maybe what they did with Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
That intelligent AI, which was a really good thing. It really was quite a challenge in that game.
Yeah.
Never finished it. Couldn't finish it. It was too hard. Not gonna lie. Too hard for me.
But it's like you don't just swipe at its feet.
Yeah.
To kill it, you don't just aim for one segment of its body, like one weak point.
Yeah, like a weak spot.
It's like there's so much diversity to the fights and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it sounds cool.
Like
sounds good.
if we were both sitting playing that side by side, We'd have completely different experiences.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Just looking at other games on these lists. How do you feel about Last Guardian?
I'm really excited for it
Do you know what? I think my excitement's come and gone.
because it was so long forgotten.
Yeah, I thought it was done. I thought it was done for, and then when it came back around, it said, "Yeah, actually, yeah, this is still happening." I was like, "All right." I wasn't bothered. I wasn't bothered at all.
I mean, we
I was
didn't
like-
really see anything that we hadn't previously seen, in a sense.
Yeah, and I think, don't get me wrong, it looks good. The actual look of the game, I mean, it looks good. But because I'm so over familiar with it now,
Yeah.
like it just doesn't seem to have an effect on me anymore.
It does feel like, what was it, like 6 years ago it was
Yeah,
announced?
God,
something?
it feels like it was about 16 years ago. It seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
And I don't know, I mean, you've only got to look at Ico and Shadow of the Colossus to know what to expect from that
Yeah.
game. Like, I've not personally played Ico, but I've played the hell out of Shadow of the Colossus. That game was such a challenge. I remember there was a couple of the fights in Shadow of the Colossus that I couldn't do. Like you said, you got stuck on Alien Isolation. I couldn't figure out how to down certain Colossus.
The
And it was just the sheer scale of them. And
yeah, it was
amazing.
it was quite beautiful, really, wasn't it? When you think
It was a beautiful game.
But I mean, the thing with Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, they are games that they're not just like a walk in the park. You have to really think about them. Do you know
And
what
I don't think
they're kind of like puzzle games in a way, I suppose.
they are. Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think I'm just over familiar with it.
I think
It'll probably be great. It'll probably be brilliant. But
I'm expecting The Last Guardian to have. It's going to have some element of mystery to it, and it's also going to have an element of I would imagine a huge element of puzzle.
oh yeah, there'll be loads of puzzle stuff in there.
I don't really. It's going to have a simple storyline. They've all got simple.
Oh yeah, they
simple
have, but
feels to it.
that's the genius.
It's got the
Their
same look.
Their simplicity is the genius.
I think it's just going to feel like a natural step up, a natural successor to, well, 2 generations later to what the previous ones
good
were.
God. That's crazy, isn't it? Let's just look at some other stuff on here. I'm going to run through real quick the ones I'm really not bothered about.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a few on here that I'm really not bothered about. Deus Ex. I played the last one. What was the last one called? Revolution?
I don't even know. It was just it was the
Deus
first
Ex.
one, wasn't it?
Deus
Oh, the
Ex.
first. I think there was one released years and years ago.
There might have been 1 or 2. I never played them, but it was good. But I was just like, meh.
Human Revolution.
Yeah, that was it. Mirror's Edge. Never going to buy it.
Nah.
The time for Mirror's Edge has come and gone. When it first came out on PS3 years ago, everyone's like, "Wow, look, you can do all this like parkour and free running. How cool!" I've just been saying it. Dying Light, loads of games are doing it. Assassin's Creed is all free running.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not a new thing anymore, and I just think, why would they think to rehash that? Why would they think to re-release it and under a new guise? It's just a bit like, I don't know, trying to reinvent the wheel. It's already been done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I bought and played the first Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
Purely because I tried buying the TNA game 3 times and the disc wouldn't read.
I remember that. I remember that. That game was shit.
The TNA Impact game. And in the end, game allowed me to
Swap it
for a game of the same price.
Yeah.
And Mirror's Edge just happened to be the same price.
Yeah.
I've ended up playing the first 3 or 4 missions on that game.
Yeah, me too.
Probably about 4 or 5 times.
Every time I was thinking it's going to get good and it just doesn't. It's just boring.
I play the first few, get bored, and then a few months later go back to it. But when you want to go back to the beginning of a game,
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than taking over.
You can't remember what's happened.
That's what I always did with.
When in reality, nothing had happened.
I know nothing.
So-
Nothing had happened at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to be getting that.
Right, let's have a look at these. I'm unsure about Doom. You know me, I'm not.
I've never played a Doom game, but I did. It looks fun.
It does look
It's
good.
just
It looks really
crazy
good.
looking
Yeah.
shooter, and
It made me kind of another shooter that I think is probably the most relatable to. The most what's the word?
I think I know what you're going to say.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last the New Order. Was it the New Order, or was that the DLC?
The New Order is technically the DLC, but I'm not sure if you need the game to
Well,
play
the Wolfenstein AAA release that came out maybe a year ago, whatever, year and a bit.
Yeah. Or Old Order might be the
That's
DLC,
a really good
I
game.
can't remember.
Have you played it?
I have, but it's one of them shooters where it's sort of just crazy.
Yeah, it's manic.
It's just manic.
It is manic, but then at the same time,
It's just really arcadey.
the brilliance of Wolfenstein is it knows exactly what it is, and
Yeah.
it's playing on that. You know, it knows that it's this ridiculous world, like almost like alternate universe World War Two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it knows exactly how ridiculous when you're running around with 2 miniguns. Do you know what I mean? And you're just blowing everything to smithereens.
Yeah.
But it's quite emotive as well. Is the story? There's quite a lot of emotion in there, and it seems quite genuine and sincere. And it's a really, really good game for anybody who hasn't played it. I'd say if you are a fan of first-person shooters, or even if you're not, because I'm not the biggest fan of first-person shooters, but I really enjoyed it. I played it through non-stop. Dishonored 2. I could not be less interested in Dishonored. I played. Do you remember
Sorry, go on.
the first one? Was it Game of the Year? First one.
I believe the first Dishonored did win Game of the Year.
And I remember hearing that and being like, "What?" Like, the only thing I can think is I played it wrong. That's the only thing I can think, because to win like something that's quite prestigious like that,
Well,
it must have.
also.
I'm not saying it was rubbish, but I was just like, meh, you know.
If I remember correctly, it might have picked Uncharted 3 to Game of the Year. I have a feeling they were released the same year, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
But what I will say is Dishonored is quite highly regarded.
It is. I suppose it's got like a quite big fan base, doesn't it? And they're quite loyal to it. Maybe I'm just not into it. But
I might potentially go back and play the first one again, because I didn't finish it, and it's looking like this one's, I think, it's going to be a direct sequel, but set a few years later.
Yeah. What else have we got on here? Homefront Revolution.
No, I'm not.
There's absolutely no way I'm buying that. Ratchet and Clank. There's a big fan base around Ratchet and Clank.
I used to love Ratchet and Clank.
I know you did. I used to hate it. This is.
I also used to love Jak and Daxter, but I was like 12.
Bloody hell.
I was about 12
Yeah.
when they came out, and I was that the kids games, aren't they? Essentially kids games.
Yeah,
children's
yeah,
games.
I suppose it's a bit like Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're kids games, but then they've got that appeal to adults as well.
There's actually a lot of different sort of innuendos in them games.
Oh yeah, there is.
There's so many innuendos.
Have you seen all this shit that's in Disney films?
Yeah.
Like seriously, if I have kids, I'm not letting them watch them Disney films. They can watch them like something else. Seriously.
Yeah, but to a kid,
There's a thing in a Disney film,
bro.
bro. Bro, there's a thing in a Disney film. I don't know which one it is. I saw this not that long ago actually. So a guy just laid down on the floor sleeping, right, in like by a campfire or something like that. And I don't know why, for some reason over his crotch and like midriff area, he's got like a little tent erected, right. And like the one bit, they're like from the corner, that's like further down his body. He's got like a rope coming down. That's like nailed in. You know, he hasn't got one at the top end. What's holding that up? Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, seriously.
I've seen
like,
videos about.
I know kids don't pick up on that shit, but I know what you mean. It's the same thing with the games, isn't it? But right, what else have we got on here? I'm quite interested in Dreams. Like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but it looks like it's going to be really interesting.
They were really trying to push it at E3. Sony were really trying to push it.
I think it looks. I mean, I've always been quite a big Little Big Planet fan.
I was just going to say,
it's got a similar sort of feel like that. You can create anything, can't you, or something like that? Or
I think
there are probably limitations on it, but
you can. But if you think of when they used to say you can create anything in Little Big Planet, you could kind of you could use your imagination.
Oh yeah.
You could create anything in your imagination, but it'd look like crap basically because it was in Little Big Planet.
I think that was the charm of it, though.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
it was.
But then you say that, but have you seen some of the things that people have created on Little Big Planet?
Oh yeah.
Some of them are brilliant. Some of them are shit. Some of them are crap. There's no getting away from that.
But again, that's something that takes so much time and effort to just make one level.
Yeah, that's true. Is there anything else you want to go over on here?
Well, it's probably one of the most highly anticipated games, The Division. This is one of them games, kind of like Watch Dogs was. It's been on the cards now and got announced so long ago.
Yeah.
It's been on the cards for so long that I'm starting to lose interest, even though it's been one of my most highly anticipated games since it got announced.
Yeah.
and it's sort of like Watch Dogs was. That got announced so long before it was released. It almost feels like every time something gets mentioned about it, instead of hyping it up, I lose a little bit of that hype for it.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But I do think it looks good. I'm worried that it's going to be sort of Destiny-esque, and it's not going to have much content in it. It's going to play well. It's going to be fun to play with your friends. The whole multiplayer competitive aspect of it sounds cool, because instead of there actually being maps in a separate game mode, there's the dark zones in the world itself.
Yeah.
Which, when you enter them, become PvP. It's cool. It's something different. Fingers crossed, it'll be a really good game.
Well,
I'm just not overly convinced that it will be, and I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
See, my kind of like experience of when it got announced and stuff like that is slightly different to yours. When that got announced, I was like, meh, it's a game I'm not interested in. Do you know what I mean? So the more I hear about it, the more I want to push it away.
Yeah.
So it'll probably have some really good aspects to it. I know you're saying about the multiplayer stuff sounds cool, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not that bothered. I think I probably, if I end up playing it, if like, come around to see you or whatever, and you're playing it, and have a look at it. If it looks good, if you tell me good things, I might give it a go. But I think it's not overall. It's probably not one of the games I'm most looking forward to. If I'm honest, looking at this list here, there's not that many that I'm really hyped for.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, there is other games as well.
Yeah, I mean, there will be other stuff, and that's to be announced.
Is No Man's Sky due to be released next year, or is it the year after?
I didn't even think about that. I think it's hopefully it's next year, because again, that's a game I've been hearing about forever.
I think it's due to come out at the end of next year.
Yeah,
but I could be mistaken.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Uncharted 4, but then it's another game that I'm thinking hasn't. I felt like Uncharted 3 was a natural end.
Yeah. I think it's just a case of, because the next gen consoles came out, they just want to show what they could do. I think it's a case of the first trilogy were incredible, and I think now they're just wanting to go above and beyond that. But it did feel like the third one was a natural end.
I mean, just going back to my point that I was making with this list initially, look at all these remakes and sequels.
Yeah.
Where's the creativity? Yeah, most of these games will probably be fine. They'll probably be wholly enjoyable and probably worth the money. But then I'm thinking, I mean, how many have I got on here? Like, I've got at least 12 on here that are really big titles for next year.
Yeah.
And they're just like Uncharted 4. I mean, how many Mass Effects has there been? Is this like this is the fourth one, isn't it?
I was actually just going to touch on that.
I like saying there's been a few Deus Exes before. I mean, Final Fantasy. I mean, that's a long-standing kind of like franchise, and that's fair enough, because it's that's become like a staple of video gaming in a way. But then I kind of think Homefront Revolution even. I mean, who's going to buy that?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy it, and I'm like, I just think surely it's not that hard. And you know me, I've written a couple of things before. And I'm not saying they were masterpieces, but to come up with a story that's original and new isn't actually that hard. It isn't that hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I mean, all of these franchises, fair enough, Deus Ex, we said there was the original game was quite a while ago, but Mirror's Edge, that was last gen. That was a new title. Uncharted, that was last gen, it was a new title. Dark Souls, equally. Dishonored, Gears of War, that was last gen. Was Mass Effect? Was there one on PS2 or Xbox One? Original Xbox, I mean.
I'm not sure, in all honesty.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think when the original one came out.
My point is, I mean, even like think of like Assassin's Creed. That's quite a long-standing franchise now, but that was an original property with last gen consoles. So my point is, they came up with these ideas last time, and they were all really good. And I'm not saying I want to never see anything of any of these games ever again, but my point is, where are the original titles? Where's the original content? There's no originality. There's no creativity. It seems like there is. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a few a few things on this list that are original things, and to be fair, Dreams, Horizon, Last Guardian, Division, they're all probably going to be pretty good.
There's also a Far Cry Primal as well.
Yes, there is.
Which
I
is
forgot about
actually
that one.
quite... Although it's another Far Cry game,
It's unique.
it's a really original
yeah,
idea.
unique to the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, but equally, it's another. Even though it's going to be slightly different in, it's kind of like time setting. Despite that fact, it is another sequel. Do you know what I mean? Or a prequel, if you like. But I just think surely there are people out there that work for these companies that can write decent narratives. You know, that can come up with likable and relatable characters.
But it's like this year, they brought out Battlefield Hardline. They've thought, what can we do to do something different? We'll do the whole cops and robbers thing.
I think initially that was a good idea. It
But-
seemed like, oh yeah, that sounds like a nice fresh change.
But
you know?
it's the exact same game.
Yeah, do you know what? This whole conversation, it might come back to one of my original points in this podcast. I was saying about how they're there to make money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know that these are tried and tested methods, tried and tested characters, and not storylines, and as much as Uncharted is good, you could argue it's been the same story. Do you know what I mean? He goes out looking for treasure, meets a bad guy, goes exploring some tombs or whatever. There's some sort of mythical monster comes into it, and then it ends. Do you know what I mean? Him and that blonde girl go off in the sunset. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember her name.
Elena.
Yeah. So I mean, even though all the games have been pretty much the same, like
They're so fun.
Naughty Dog know that they're fun, but Naughty Dog know people like that recipe. Do you know what I mean? Like the people Assassin's Creed, everyone's like, oh, why are all the games the same? Well, why is all FIFA the same? Because it's all the same. Because they know people. That's what people like. They just tweak. Oh yeah, but this year we've got female footballers in it, and rightly so. You know, why shouldn't they be recognised? But then equally, what have you actually done to change the actual gameplay? I bet it's the same.
All pretty much with FIFA, every year, as well as Madden and any annual sports game or racing game. Essentially, it's the same core game with a few tweaks to gameplay and visuals, and literally just updated rosters.
Yeah.
Updated kits, football kits, rugby kits, whatever game it is.
Yeah.
Updated rosters and teams. A few different things. Like with FIFA and Madden, it's all about Ultimate Team.
Mm.
So they focus on little tweaks to that. But because the main thing on that game is Ultimate Team, you basically have to pay to play because you can't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can't.
Well, I know.
If you don't.
I know because I've played Madden.
I've played a lot of FIFA over the years as well.
It's the same on Madden. You know,
Yeah.
you need to buy those packs to get those players. Do you know what I mean? You never ever just you can't get them otherwise.
You've got to be extremely lucky to
Yeah, exactly. But I think the point is every genre has got its own recipe. It's got its own way of doing things, and I know people have liked that in the past, so they're going to keep doing it. Think of shooters, for example, Call of Duty. Yeah, they add little things, but basically the game's the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with Battlefield. Same with Uncharted. Same with Assassin's Creed. You know, like you say, same with a lot of sports games. These are tried and tested methods. I mean, I don't know. Do you remember way back? I'm talking about FIFA from years ago, when I was a kid, right? And it was like that sort of diagonal view. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And it was like really shit. But then do you remember ISS Pro 98 or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
And suddenly, it was 3-dimensional, you know, and we always just play it like on that view, like really like
We used to play in the vertical.
yeah, vertical view. That was like revolutionary. There's probably other games that had already done it. I don't know. Like back then, we didn't have all the games, did we? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But gradually over the progression and the evolution of the games industry, the games kind of developed. Do you know what I mean? And they became more advanced and more interactive and more impressive overall. But I think it's come to a stop.
They're trying
I
to
do have
find...
that sort of impression.
Sorry, go on.
I can't lie. Like I do have that sort of impression with the gaming industry at the moment, and I think they're stuck. I think they are because really, what more can you do? Think of Assassin's Creed. You've created a whole world basically. All the locations they've been to. They created half the world, and that's fun. It's it's entertaining. You can explore the past essentially. But then what more can they do with that? People always say, oh, you know, they need to change it up. How are they going to change it up? That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have the answer. I don't just mean Assassin's Creed. I mean all games. I don't have the answers for this. You know. But so just going back to what I originally asked you, talking about like we talked about so far. We talked about best of the year, worst of the year, biggest surprise of the year. So I wasn't really going to do this, but like, if you had to pick a game of the year, just as a quick kind of like roundup, if you had to pick one, what would you go for?
I'd probably go with Fallout. It does have its flaws, and
I think every game's
I'm getting
flawed, though. There's
I'm
nothing.
sort of-
Nothing's perfect. Like, you know.
yeah, I'm getting a little bit. It seems like it's almost getting a little bit stale now, but I think it's because I've not focused enough on the story,
Yeah.
and I've just been off explore. I've explored everywhere pretty much. Or I'm finding myself having to go to places that I've already previously cleared of enemies.
Yeah.
And granted, some places take you to different parts of that area or different parts of different rooms of a building or whatever. But
I think
I'd probably say Fallout.
Yeah. I think if I had to say a game that it probably, if you know, like I said, at the time of recording this, I don't know if there has been a game of the year or anything being announced. It's a game that it probably won't win game of the year. It probably wouldn't even be in the top 10 maybe. But for me, the level of enjoyment that I've had and like the time I've invested into it, I'd probably say Dying Light.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just a really fun game. Like, it's scary. Like, it's got a really good system. It's so simple, that day and night thing I said before, but it just seems very original. Just everything I said before. I just think it's a really good game, and I've really enjoyed playing it. And quite honestly, out of all the games I've played this year, going back to it now, maybe because there's been more time, it came out early in the year, but going back to it now and starting playing it again earlier today, like I was really excited to play it again.
Yeah.
Really, really excited to play it again. And then when I started playing, I was like, "Oh man, I've not got any of that equipment that I had before. You know, I've not got these weapons, and all I've got is this bloody pipe to kill 10 zombies or whatever." It's good. It's a really good game, and I'd recommend it to anybody. So there we go. I think we're about finished, aren't we?
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. If you've listened to this all the way through and you've enjoyed what we've had to say, or if you differ with what we've had to say, then let us know in the comments or anything like that. Tell us what your favourite game of the year was, or equally what your worst game of the year was, or things that have surprised you. There should be other stuff coming to this channel. We've got a few other ideas, haven't we?
Yeah.
This is like, I think, an initial sort of sharing our thoughts, sharing our opinions on stuff, to get that ball rolling.
Well, it's sort of been the perfect time with it coming up to being the new year.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like we can start to get, as you say, the ball rolling in the new year.
Yeah,
Hopefully
definitely.
with some new ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah. So yeah, if you've enjoyed listening, then let us know what you think. But as it stands for now, from the One True Goose, thanks for listening, thanks for watching.
And from me, just Veeds, remember, the bros know.